What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. In this video I'm going to be installing an HSP Hotside Intercooler pipe on my 2006 Silverado 2500 LBZ Duramax. And if you're not familiar with this pipe, I have it wrapped up right now, but it's a blue color. And what this does is it makes a huge difference in airflow. So it has a much straighter flow. This is the stock Hotside Intercooler on the bottom, Hotside Intercooler pipe. And then there's the HSP. You can see it has fewer bends and it avoids the massive 90-degree bend right here. They have this 90-degree boot that goes into the intercooler. So the air makes like two 90-degree bends. So it comes out of the turbo, hits this right here, bends right there, bends right there, bends right there, and then makes another bend into the intercooler. So this one just kind of goes straight like this. Or actually, that's the turbo side. Just makes one bend there, and then one bend there. So it's like 3 bends versus 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 bends. Also, it's a 3-inch diameter, and you can get any color you want. I'm not being sponsored to post this video. Really heavy duty boots that are gonna secure this pipe under high boost. So I'm gonna finish doing the install, but I already popped off the original pipe. As you can see, this 90-degree boot, it was a little bit of a pain to get the one bolt here, the one clamp with the nut there. It was a little pain to get that one loose. But I got it loose with a standard wrench. And what you want to do is you want to clean up your turbo outlet there, make it nice and clean. There was a lot of leftover oil residue from when this truck had a PCV system. I rerouted the PCV, so that's not an issue anymore. So you want to clean it up real good. You're going to want to take your wheel well liner out. I didn't take the whole thing out. I just took this front half portion, and then right in there you can see your intercooler 3-inch inlet. So we're gonna finish cleaning that up with some rubbing alcohol and a rag, make sure it's nice and dry. Then we're gonna feed the pipe in. Hopefully it'll fit and won't rub on anything, and tighten the clamps and should be good to go. But this is supposed to improve the airflow out of the turbo into your intercooler, so it reduces a restriction. It also helps with cooling, so it'll drop your intake air temperatures and your EGTs as well. All right, guys, we made a lot of progress. I gotta say, what a pain in the butt getting these boots on the turbo, and then most difficult part is getting the pipe into these boots. What a pain. But I think it looks absolutely amazing. So far I've been working 3 hours. I would say it took me about 30 minutes to just remove the old pipe. I took some breaks, quick breaks, but man, getting the pipe into the boots after you put the boots on the turbo and the intercooler, what a pain, so difficult. Now I want to show you a little trick, and that's just a little spray bottle of rubbing alcohol. And when I would go to put the boots on, I would just spray the crap out of the pipe and inside the boot as much as possible. And if I had difficulty sliding it deeper in, I would just take a screwdriver and stick the screwdriver underneath in between the boot and the pipe, and just lift it up a little bit just to get the nozzle of the alcohol spray in there. And I would do that. You can see some marks there from when I was using a screwdriver. I would, lift it up like 1/4 of an inch with the screwdriver, spray under in between, then go over here, lift it up, and just make sure I get a lot of rubbing alcohol. And then I would use a lot of my strength to force this pipe in. The hardest part was getting the pipe into this boot right here. It's not so much getting it started, but getting it deep enough to where the clamp has enough meat to clamp onto. That just that last half inch, sliding it that last half inch was a real pain. And then what happened was, once I got it good over here, what happened was over here the pipe slid out of the intercooler boot. So then this was a nightmare, because then I had to put this back in the boot, and that was a real pain. But you want to have about at least 1/4 of an inch of space between the end of the clamp and the edge of the silicone. So I'll show you closer what I mean. But like over here, for example, probably got almost maybe 1/2 inch there, about 1/4 inch on the turbo. So that's what you're going to want all the way around. And when you're clamping these down, just feel with your finger, make sure that the band clamp is totally wrapped around. And you know, once you're done, just give it a good tug. I mean, this boot is so tight, especially once that alcohol dries up. I think even without these clamps, the boots would hold under light to moderate boost. They just hold so tight. The factory boots just pop right off. Like, I mean, there was no struggle getting the factory boots off, but these just really stick. There's like this sticky, tacky silicone. It just grips the pipe so tight. But I think it looks phenomenal. We're just cleaning up some wiring here. We had this main, looks like ECM, could be the ECM harness there. And what happened was, it was basically touching the pipe right here. So I went ahead and I zip tied it, as you can see, to lift it up. So now I got like 3 to 4 fingers of space. You really don't want this pipe touching anything. Just checking around to make sure. We got some loose wires here. I'm gonna zip tie all these wires together so they're away and they're not touching. There's a harness right there. I'm not sure what that one does. The brake lines, you got to check for the brake lines. I can fit my whole finger between them. I did have to bend just gently. This one brake line right here, I just gave it a light bend, very light, and that gave me a full finger thickness of space between the brake lines. You don't want it touching anything. Just feel around the pipe, make sure it's not touching any wires, make sure it's not touching your power steering column, your steering column, and which is right there. You can see the steering column. Check the brake lines, most importantly. Check your harnesses, zip tie them away if necessary. And up here also make sure you're not hitting anything. I do have my PCV reroute hose right there that's touching the boot, so hopefully that'll be okay. And then on this side, you're going to be pretty close to what appears to be a fuel line. Let me see if I can turn my light on. You're going to be pretty close to this fuel line right there, but you're going to have like maybe 1/4 inch of space between. So you got a lot of sensors in here. You got your vane position sensor for your turbo. So when you're in here wrestling this pipe into position, just be careful. You got some fragile harnesses here. You know, if you just use too much force, you're trying to force this thing in and you slip, you can break this whole thing. You can tear your AC line out. You know, you got your glow plug module right there. So lots of important things. So you gotta, you know, use your rubbing alcohol, be patient, you know, give yourself enough time. It's almost sunset here. Let me show you. Actually, the moon is coming out right over the horizon there. But yeah, I'm gonna put the clamp on and put the wheel well liner back up, zip tie these cables, and then give it a test drive, and hopefully it stays in place. I've heard some nightmare situations where people had their whole pipe pop off on the road, which is not a good thing. I'm just feeling around here. You know, just feel around, make sure there's nothing touching it, no wires or anything, because this pipe does get hot if you're boosting a lot, especially in the summertime. If you're like wide open throttle, this pipe could get up to like 300 degrees Fahrenheit, the air going through it. If you're just coasting, you know, maybe 150 degrees. So definitely enough temperature to melt wires. So just feel around, make sure nothing's touching it. Be careful not to shock yourself either or ground something out while you're doing that. But yeah, I can't wait to get it started and do a test drive, but man, I think it looks super cool. Check that out. We got the HSP logo on there. I'm gonna go underneath now and just show you what I did underneath to make your life easier. What I recommend is, let me see here. What I recommend is facing the clamps down. For some reason, GM had the clamp tucked up, I guess to protect it from, you know, rust or whatever. What I'm gonna do is once I tighten these down, I'm gonna spray this with some, just very carefully not to get it on the silicone because it can damage the silicone, just some Cosmoline. I'm gonna maybe put like a paper towel here just to protect the silicone and just spray all around this screw with Cosmoline so it doesn't rust. I just got to put the clamp on over here, but you can see I just have about a 1/4 inch gap, and you want to take your clamp and butt it right up against that bead. Okay, you can see the bead right there, so I have just enough room to slide my clamp on, and you want to be right behind that bead, not on top of it, just right behind it. Tighten it down until it's hand tight. Don't over tighten. Okay, you'll start to see the clamp bite into the boot. As you can see here, it started to bite in. You don't want it to bite too much, but you want it to give it a little bite. Okay, the torque spec is 75 inch-pounds, which is only 6 foot-pounds. Okay, so just very light hand pressure. Tighten it until you feel it pretty tight. You can use just like 2 fingers towards the top of the ratchet so you don't over tighten. So let's put that last clamp on, clean things up with the wiring, and then we'll be good to go. Gotta hurry because I'm running out of light, and I hate working with light outside. It's annoying. All right, guys, so just buttoning everything up, and we do have 1 casualty so far. The pipe looks great. Can't wait to test drive it. We got 1 casualty so far. One of my rock lights, because I was working over here and I didn't want to take my mud flap off all the way because I got a lot going on with it over here. Or not mud flap, fender liner. And I was just working and putting a lot of pressure on the rock light and damaged one of my rock lights here. So just taking a rock light from a different location on my truck. So this way I can just button up this fender liner, and then the other rock light, I'll just order a new one to replace this one. Basically just putting too much pressure on the cable there, and I just damaged it. So, but everything looks good. Here are my clamps. As you can see, kind of a tight fit, but can't wait to do a test drive and see how everything sounds and feels. Zip tied this harness here, zip tied that harness, and brake lines are clear, everything is clear. So yeah, just gonna finish putting this rock light on, and then we'll do a test drive in just a little bit here, but I think it looks really cool.